Hi, so this is my second video in my series on should you go to graduate school in the social sciences. This one is about something more amorphous than finances. It's perfectionism. So a lot of people who go to grad school, by definition, are good students. Most graduate programs do care about GPA, they do care about test scores. So if you're someone who has a lot of relevant skills, but you just don't get good grades and good test scores, you're unlikely to get into a graduate program. And I think that's really unfair because a lot of people who do have the skills and the type of mindset and writing ability and critical thinking ability just aren't able to get into grad school because of that barrier. What that also means is that you get a lot of people in grad school who are used to excelling in school. People who are straight A students, people who have had 4.0s and who are proud of having had 4.0s, and who are not used to taking criticism and believing criticism, accepting it rather than arguing with it. In grad school, that kind of attitude and that kind of commitment to performance rather than growth can really screw you over. I've seen it dozens and dozens of times, both in people that I went to grad school with and in students that I've taught. People who are used to performing really well and getting nothing but positive feedback don't often know how to pivot when they do get critical feedback that is fair. I've had a lot of students who will argue with negative feedback, who will be distressed about their grade, rather than ask, how can I revise my work and how can I move forward in the future to produce better quality work? And that is the other element to this, is a concern with grades over quality of work and over learning. If you got into grad school, you probably had good grades, or if you're contemplating going to grad school, you probably have done well in school. And graduate school is different. It's not like undergrad. Having a 4.0 isn't important. Nearly everyone in your classes will be getting A's and B's. Very few people will be getting anything lower than that. And so that's not what distinguishes you from other people. You have to be able to deliver consistent results. You need to be self-motivated. You need to be able to look at critical comments and figure out how you're going to respond to them. Every person in grad school is going to get negative feedback, even while they're getting A's and B's. The process of drafting your thesis or your dissertation is a constant, grueling submission to negative feedback and criticism. And the ability to look at that criticism and say, what can I do differently? What are my areas of improvement? And what feedback will I accept and agree with versus what feedback will I take issue with? Those are all essential skills that you need to develop in grad school. And it's better if you have those skills somewhat honed before you even get there. It can be really demotivating and distressing for a lot of incoming grad students to suddenly get tons of edits, tons of rounds of revisions, and tons of critical comments when they're used to passing with flying colors almost effortlessly. It is better to be someone who is open to criticism. That will make you a better teacher because you will understand what it's like to be a not perfect student, and you'll be able to empathize with your students who aren't straight A students. And it makes you a better researcher and a better writer as well. No journal article submission gets passed and accepted without edits. That almost never happens. No dissertation has like 1 or 2 drafts. It has tens and tens of drafts. And that's if you're doing it well. Receiving criticism is part of the process. Even if you're an excellent writer, an excellent thinker, you have to be given some criticism. Otherwise, it's not a useful pedagogical experience. So if criticism affects you really strongly and really emotionally on a personal level, if it makes you scared or if it makes you shut down and it makes it difficult for you to work on something, then maybe grad school isn't right for you at this time. It's a monastic experience. It's like training for a marathon or for a martial art. Taking your licks is part of how you show that you are a competent and mature thinker. And accepting failure and moving through failure is an essential part of the process. That means sometimes getting feedback that you don't like. That means sometimes throwing out drafts. rather than moving forward with them, going back to the drawing board, and a lot of other stuff that's really threatening to one's ego. So sometimes the people who succeed the best in grad school are those solid A- students who know how to work really efficiently and budget their time strategically, rather than people who are committed to consistently getting a 4.0. That's just not the right kind of mindset when you have to juggle as many things as you have to juggle in graduate school. So I hope you found this commentary helpful. Again, I already had one video in this series talking about funding, and I will have further videos talking about other things you need to think about as you're contemplating going to graduate school.